Hey everybody, I just wanted to check in with you here from Louisville. I've been looking over the timeline assignments and giving some feedback. I am done with all of the ID steps that have been entered for Section 52. So if you're in Section 52 of New Mexico history, you can look for your feedback in Blackboard. If you're in Section 51, be looking for that soon. I plan on finishing that up tonight and into tomorrow. So I'll try to get as much feedback to you as I can, especially this first time around, because I know that the timeline assignment is something new, it's different, and it's something that we're all kind of getting used to. This video, I want to do two things. I want to give some kind of overall feedback about historical significance and that part of the assignment. That's the thing that most of us tend to miss. And so I want to say some things about that. And please watch, even if you feel like you did a good job with that this time. The second part of the assignment is specifically for those of you who I gave some feedback to about embedding the link to your outside source, or about adding your video, or about changing the style in Tiki-Taki so that it wouldn't be in all italics. So if you don't have any of those questions, or you knew how to do all of that stuff, and I didn't leave you that feedback, you don't have to watch the second half of the video where I walk through those things. So that's why I'm doing this screencast. Also, I'm using the timeline for Section 52. So if you're in Section 51 of New Mexico history, the timeline, the background image looks a little different, but all of the functionality is the exact same. So these comments will work for you as well. So first off, let me say some things about historical significance. Also, let me note that we're all off to an excellent start. So you should pat yourselves on the back, feel good about this. If you didn't yet submit your ID step for the timeline, don't worry. Please just get it in as soon as you can. Something that I do with Unit 2 is I allow you to revise and resubmit to earn up to full credit for this one. Again, that's because I know this is a brand new thing for most of us. So that also means if you haven't yet submitted your work, just please do that as soon as you can. If you have questions, let me know what those are. Once you've chosen a topic, and remember your topic needs to fit within the time frame of the unit that we're working on. There were a couple outliers this time. I noted that in the feedback I gave you. You don't have to redo it this time around. Just make sure that for future timeline posts, you choose something that fits within the unit that we're studying. This could cover, for Unit 2, I should say, you could have covered anything from the earliest inhabitants of New Mexico all the way up through the Pueblo Revolt or so. So it was covered a lot of ground in terms of time. That's because we don't know quite as much about the earliest peoples of New Mexico because of the lack of sources and things. And so we tend to cover that time frame a bit quicker than some other ones. Okay, so now I will actually say what I meant to say about historical significance. This is the part where you get to give us your interpretation of the topic you chose. So the historical significance piece of this assignment is the most important thing. It's the thing I really want you to focus on and think hard about, because you can kind of spit back to us some of the details about your topic. That's important. It is important for you to put in your own words the information that you've learned about whatever your topic is, so that we can also understand it and get some new insights on it. But along with that, you need to explain to us in as specific a way as possible why this thing matters, why your topic matters to to New Mexico history. So if you look back at your post and you realize you've said a lot about the biography or the history of the person or the event that you have chosen, but you haven't answered the question, so what? Why does this matter? Then you know you're not done. You know you haven't done that piece about historical significance. You haven't given us your interpretation. So this is where you get to apply some historical thinking skills. This is where you get to be a historian. You don't have to do super in-depth research for this, but you do need to let us know how you're seeing this part of history. what your interpretation is so that you can add to the conversation. Like so many other scholarly pursuits, study of the past is a dialogue. It's something that scholars debate, they talk through, they provide new insights and new ideas, and that's how we get to the best and the fullest accounts of the past. So again, make sure you've given us your interpretation of your event. That's really what we're getting at with historical significance. If you have any questions about that, please don't hesitate to ask. All right, so if you don't need the technical help with Tiki-Taki that I mentioned earlier, you can stop viewing this now. If you do, on the other hand, I'm going to move my head and shrink it a little bit, maybe, if I can get this to work. There we go. I'm moving. I'm smaller. Okay, so again, as I mentioned, this is the timeline for section 52 of our course, of New Mexico history, I should say. I wanted to point out that you'll know if you've done everything correctly if your thumbnail looks like Ava's or Nick's or Marcos's or Alyssa's, all of these. If you've done the style and everything correctly, that's what you should see once you're all done. When you click more, you will see something like this. You'll see the title, the name, time frame up here, the video or the image. And then as you scroll down, you'll notice that the bulk of this post is in normal font. It's not in italics. It has the paragraph breaks, and it has this find out more box. So when you click find out more, I'm going to do it real quick. It'll open the outside link, the outside source that you've chosen in a different tab so that everyone else can also do that when they look at the timeline. I'm going to close that again. And I'm going to minimize Nick's entry. I wanted to walk you through how to make your entries look like that if they don't right now. So let me scroll over here. I'm going to use Benisha's entry on the Tigwe War because I've pulled up her source for that. So you'll notice that when you click on hers, and let me actually go back, you can see not just her name, but you can also see the beginning of the entry itself, the text for her post. If you can see that, you know that you haven't posted your entry in quite the right place. Your name should go in that location, but the entry needs to go somewhere else. So I'm going to open the admin box over here. I'm going to scroll down to find Tigwe War. And I will put this back so that Benisha has the chance, like everyone else, to do her own revisions and her own work on this. I should point out, you do lose some points if you don't embed your link to your outside source or embed your video in Tiki-Taki. I don't mean to be super nitpicky about that, but you get points for doing that. I mean, that's why you get points. You get points for choosing an outside source or image and for embedding it here. So if you haven't done those things, then you can't earn the points. Okay, so looking here then in the admin section, you'll notice that Benisha has posted everything into the intro box. So I'm going to copy and cut her post. I'm going to have to click save, and you should click save early and often with Tiki-Taki because it tends to kick you out here and there. I know that can be frustrating. That's one of the reasons I ask you to write everything in a Word document first before you put it here. Also, make sure you submit that Word document to Blackboard as well. After Unit 2 especially, if you haven't submitted to Blackboard, I won't be able to find your work on the timeline because it will fill up so much. And I don't go hunting around for everybody's stuff. I use what has been posted to Blackboard to find what has been entered on the timeline, if that makes sense. So getting back to this, I'm going to click Extra Info, and this is the place where you need to paste the bulk of your entry. Because this one has already been pasted in the other location, the paragraph breaks may not be there. I'm going to add one just for the sake of showing you how that looks. So I'm just going to hit enter twice so there's a space there. I'm going to click save. And now you'll notice when you look over here, the post is no longer in italics. It's in normal font, and there's that paragraph break where I added it in. In order to add the embedded outside source, I'm going to open back up admin. I'm going to go over here to basic info again. And I'm going to go and grab the URL for the source that Benicia posted to Blackboard in that submission. So this is that source. I'm just going to highlight the URL up here in the browser bar. I hit the wrong one. Hold on, I'm sorry. I hit Control-V instead of Control-C. Okay, once I do this and do Control-C, I've copied that URL. I'm going to go back into the tab with the timeline, put my cursor in the link box, and then do Control-V. Now I'm going to click Save, and as we look at the post over here, we'll notice there's that Find Out More button. We can click on it, and it will open that outside source. Okay, so that's if I've asked you to make sure you embed your outside source, that's what I'm asking you to do, is just post it, or I should say paste it here into the link box. As promised, I'm going to revert everything back to the way it was, so that everybody has that same opportunity to go back and revise if you'd like. So let me just do that very quickly, and then I will want to show you one more thing before we're done with the video. I do want to show you also how to embed your video if you did not do that. So I'm going to go over here to Mariano's Travels of Cortez entry. So you'll notice this one does not have the image embedded. And you can, when you get a chance, Mariano, you can go back and just copy the URL for your outside source, paste it into the link box that I've showed you, and so on. I use this link to your YouTube video to pull it up in this other tab. So let me show you how to embed it. You go to the media section here. Oh, it looks like, hold on. Oh, it looks like something is embedded there. It's because I did not switch over here to the Travels of Cortez. Okay, so now I've pulled up Travels of Cortez in the admin box. Go to media, there's nothing there. And so I will click Add New Media. In the source box is where we want to post that. So I need to go over here. I'm going to grab the URL for the YouTube video. And then I'm going to paste it into the source box. I'm going to choose video from that drop-down menu. You don't have to enter a thumbnail or a caption unless you want to. And I'm going to click Save. And now you'll notice the video is there. For the sake of showing you this, let me go to images.google.com. I'm going to look for Hernan Cortez over here. Maybe. There he is. Okay. So Hernan Cortez. I want to show you this because sometimes you'll think you've embedded your image, except it won't actually display. I'm going to show you why, show you how to troubleshoot that. So let me delete all this stuff. And, oh, actually, that was not the easiest way to do it. Revert, delete. Okay. Okay, I'm going to delete that. So let's say we want to get an image in here. I've decided I like this one. Sometimes you think it's best to go up here and grab the URL. That will not work. You have to put your cursor actually on the image itself, right-click or control-click if you're on a Mac like I am, and then I'm using Chrome on a Mac, and so the option I choose is Copy Image Address. If you're using a PC or a different browser, the wording might be slightly different, but the idea is the same. Whatever option is asking you to copy the address or the URL for the image, that's the one you want. I'm going to go back to Timeline. I'm going to add new media again, paste it into the same source box because I copied the URL that I got from right-clicking on the image. It's okay because it's already on image, so I don't have to change the type. Click Save, and there it is. Okay, so I think that should cover everything that I was wanting to show you in terms of how to make those corrections to your timeline entries. If you have any questions about historical significance, about the feedback I've given you, about the timeline in general, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm more than happy to help out. I hope you're having a great week, and I will talk to you soon.